Okay, welcome back. And our guest is Professor Yemi Oke, Professor of Energy and Electricity Law at the University of Lagos. He is joining us remotely by Zoom. And continuing the conversation where Professor Oke has been explaining some of the constraints and features of the Nigerian power sector, we spoke, and we can't speak at length on the whole matter of the subsidizing of the sector. Okay, but just before I continue, Reverend Dominic has come on the line. Good morning to you, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Chief Yori.
Thank you.
Good morning to that wonderful professor.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir. Please be brief, sir.
Yeah. Yori, the issue of power in Nigeria, I think you can hear me, have become a troublesome. In the sense that in 1999, when this government when Democrats come into power, nobody, even the professor, did not believe we will stay 10 years and we will not have a stable power. In fact, there was a minister in Obasanjo government who spoke the truth, we can call it truth now, that will take Nigeria 50 years to get power. And when everybody cried, in fact, government have to go back to press and say, we did not say that. But the technos, where we are now, is like we're going to get up just 50 years, God forbid, to get that power. But what is bothering me is this. After unbundling the NEPA, we know, the system become more complicated than before. I told you last year, November, I have a prepaid meter I've been using since 2012. I bought it with 25,000 naira. I had professor say they shall give us meter and we repay. Nobody has paid me that for 25,000 naira since 2012. November, they came to get it off. I went to the office, as you know me. They said, well, the meter is 10 years. They have to remove it. I said, you know, for the first day you gave me this meter, it will expire by 10 years. You're not making a provision for now on. Now you're putting me to what you call postpaid. Now, after you know about 10 years ago, that meter will expire by November. Now, since November, I'm in postpaid, no lights, and before I'm not worried because I have prepaid. Whether light come or not, I know I pay what I got. Now they're going to bring me bill of darkness for about 3 months. Who does that?
Yes.
You talk about UK or United Kingdom. One of the guests also said the same thing, that in UK, every 10 years, meter expires. Why in UK, when it's expired, they're replacing? But in Nigeria, we have the best professors, engineers. 10 years later, we are going bad. They told me yesterday that it's no more 150,000, it's now 156,000. And when I pay it, I have to wait for 3 months. What kind of a system is this?
Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. These are part of the frustrations within the system. Professor, okay, you've heard of the good Reverend. You've heard of his woes. But please comment on that if you will. But also let's move on to the matter of, the gas constraints we're hearing so much about. And indeed, in the midst of all of this milieu, energy thefts. How big a problem is that?
Gas constraint is there because most is the feedstock for most of the power that is generated and distributed in Nigeria, no doubt. But gas is an international commodity. So meaning, the reality on ground is such that on the one hand, gas is being demanded all over the world as a hugely crucial product. Then we have the Petroleum Industry Act. We had some regulations before. Now it's now being codified in the Petroleum Industry Act. And Nigerian gas producers are supposed to have domestic gas obligation, meaning if you are producing 10 cubic feet of gas, you have to reserve like 2, 3 for local consumption. That is the law. That is an ambitious law because what are the incentive for them to produce gas? Gas, before they produce, is bought and sold in international markets at prevailing international prices. I said so. If with the increase in dollar, an average gas producer will prefer to sell at export rate because we can't be producing gas at competitive rate for local consumption, meaning the gas producer should produce gas at a loss. No business person will want to go and venture into a sector and produce at a loss because government is not going to refund the money. Those are the issues that brought about subsidy, indirect subsidy in the power sector before. But Nigeria is a hugely endowed country when we talk of gas. How much of gas production are we doing? How much of gas production are we doing even for the so-called CNG, for domestic gas, which is called LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, for industrial gas, and others, for NLNG and the rest? So there is shortage of gas production in Nigeria, not gas reserve. We have huge gas reserve in Nigeria in several billions, but we are not producing enough gas. That is one. Two, aside gas, can't we look at other options to generate electricity? So gas and hydro will seem to be the most cost-effective, the cheapest options. But there are several options to generate power. So gas constraint is there, and we have some of the gas-fired plant now about to be privatized. We are saying, oh, don't privatize yet, wait a few months, so that we can put things together so that the privatization will not go the way of the privatization of the discos. But then, we're not producing enough gas. Assuming we produce enough gas, we've been hearing of hydro generation, trapped megawatts. Some of the turbines are generated power through gas. They cannot evacuate onto the national grid for the same reason that I mentioned, because there will be grid collapses, meaning this container is designed for 500 liters.
Yeah.
Now you have produced 1,000 liters. You can't pour it in. This pipeline is produced to take so amount of liters. Now you have expanded in terms of social infrastructure, economic activities beyond the pipelines that is laid. Have you laid additional pipelines? Have you created additional reservoirs?
I see the challenge, like Prof. I beg your pardon for interrupting you. I beg your pardon for interrupting you, but I see the challenge. Thank you very much, sir. Femi in Alagbado has been waiting to join us. Good morning, Femi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to your guests.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah. My own view, the way I view the federal government privatization of the power sector, is just an advanced Yahoo against Nigerian people, fully backed by the federal government. In the sense that I don't understand when you say something to somebody, you must have done due diligence as to what he is needed to run that company. He now buys it and feels that he can be giving you power on estimated deal. You have done your due diligence. You must know that you are going to give meter to people before you can buy that company. You bought it. Now, for almost 10 years, they are running those things the way they like. Number two, I want to ask your guest, is it impossible for us to divest, to become Hello, good morning.
Oh, we've gone past that. Please continue. Don't bother. We've gone way past that. That was a delayed feedback. Femi in Alagbado. Oh dear. I think the whole Prof, you heard some of the things.
I got it.
Yes.
I got him. And incidentally, the message I sent to you last night says was something written by another colleague which says the framework, the map is a Yahoo thing.
Indeed, I saw you smile there.
And let me use the word. The whole sector is a Yahoo thing, but it's not being perpetrated by the federal government, definitely. Not the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but I can say that for a fact because by antecedent, we know here is a man who had, not knowing what the nature had in stock for him, tried to also undo this over-centralization of power generation, transmission, and distribution. I always say that with the Lagos Aaron example, that was frustrated by the federal government, but unfortunately now is in
by the then federal government, not this.
By the then federal government. And nature has created it in a way that the man who got frustrated then now has the yam and the knife of the power sector. So Nigerians are waiting now. So now the total federal might is you. So no federal might excuses now. And we are hot chat. I'm sure something will be on. So federal government, I've seen the body language of the current federal government, which is positive. And that is why some of us are encouraged to keep digging, to keep studying the challenges, to keep coming up with solutions. There is nothing I'm going to say anywhere on here that I will not put my own research-based practical solutions or suggestions. Because these things is not just to talk about the challenges, we also must talk about the way out.
Some of the solutions.
So talking about the issue of gas, I said, let's incentivize gas production. If gas being an international commodity.
Yes. Sorry to jump in, Prof. Yes, indeed, you did. I'm so sorry to jump in. Apologies, sir. But yes, we did get the point that you made. You even made the other point about possibly, can't we explore alternatives? Hydro, exactly. Now, how?
So we are done with that.
Yes, in the midst of this milieu, energy theft. How great a threat is that to our aspirations?
It's a major threat, no doubt. And I will blame the discourse. Do you know I'm going to blame the discourse? It took, and I'm going to say this on here for Nigerians to hear. I did a seminar for judges and justices and stakeholders in Kaduna. It was sponsored by Kaduna and Kano Discourse. We are talking about this same challenge. And
by the way, Kano, sorry, sir. By the way, Kano Disco that you mentioned just reminded me that they say they have been refunding to consumers, you know, the investment.
No, they say, but let me not put anybody. Not put anybody on the spot now in terms of what they are saying they are doing or not doing. But the issue is this. So we went for that training, and somebody was talking about one of the operators, I think Kano was talking about their challenge of Bashiga, meaning you cannot enter. You can't enter and you are supplying them electricity. You can't enter to take stock or reading of their meter for purpose of billing. That's a major problem. So meaning they're going to be supplying electricity at a loss because they keep consuming and they can't access to know the number of consumers. And the way their homes are built there is interlocked. You have one small house and you have several pots behind. So that's a challenge. Then we now had another training for the Abuja. And I said, what are you doing about this state? You produce the steel, and you are talking of your AT&T losses, meaning aggregate, transmission, and distribution loss and whatever. I said, you are losing so much, and you're putting the cost on the few consumers that you have without increasing the consumer nest or the network production. But if you have 3,000 megawatts, your cost of production of 3,000 megawatts is going to be spread on consumers. So if the same thing, if you have 20,000 megawatts, you are going to spread the cost and it won't be as expensive. It's about effectiveness. And we now said there are laws that you can make recourse to prosecute these offenders. And we have to tell them that there is miscellaneous provisions act, the penal code, the criminal code act provisions for electricity law. Just because of the inadequacies of the old law that said was a law meant to reform. The law then, the Electric Power Sector Reform Act, provides insufficiently for theft and related criminal law issues in the power sector. And we criticized and we also suggested work to be done. Gladly, of course, they listened to it because we now have robust criminal law provisions in the Electricity Act of 2023. Part 10 devotes sections 208 to 223 to electricity offenses.
Okay.
Theft of electricity is provided for. Theft of electricity lines and materials. There is receiving stolen electricity, interfering with meters, intentionally disrupting power supply, all the offenses that were not provided for are now being provided for in the laws. Meaning, we have a job at hand. We need now to ensure that we implement and invoke these laws.
Okay, let me bring in. I beg your pardon, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. You know the nature of our program. Mr. George has been waiting for quite a while. Good morning to you, Mr. George. Thank you for holding on.
Thank you, Uncle Yori. Uncle Yori, it's about 5 months or plus now that the ministers took over in this government. The Minister of Power, I stand to be corrected, up to now has not presented his roadmap to the Nigerian public. Minister of Interior, he didn't spend 1 month in the office before he presented. Minister of Works, Minister of Abuja, they didn't spend 1 month before they presented their roadmap. But that was as important as power is. We don't see the roadmap presented by this Minister of Works or Minister of Power. The national grid collapses almost on a monthly basis. We don't hear him say anything. Uncle Yori, I'm aware that Governor El-Rufai, before he went for the Senate confirmation hearing, had already formed a team that he wished to address this power issue. Unfortunately, I don't know what went wrong. If you ask me, I will advise the president to bring El-Rufai back to that ministry and redeploy this minister. It seems his ability lies elsewhere, not in power.
Okay, Mr. George, thank you very much for calling. Really, we're fast running out of time. Prof.
That's an opinion. That's an opinion. All I know is that the president reserved the right to appoint people and assign them roles. And I know the Minister of Power, of course, the country is challenged as an entity, so not an isolated case. By the time we talk of the power sector, okay. I'm sure you must have been trying his best. So I'm sure he has a roadmap somewhere to be unveiled, if not unveiled already.
Prof, okay. There are a couple of other things that I really wanted to touch upon, and we're fast running out of time. This whole matter about the loyalty or patriotism of Nigerians when it comes to national assets. And here I'm talking about assets and facilities vandalization. How serious a problem is it in the power sector?
It's a major problem. It's a major problem. Unfortunately, the law didn't investigate the magnitude of the problem before. It's now that the law is now providing for it. Maybe the miscellaneous offenses Act provided for something in terms of theft and related issues, but then we weren't seeing substantial levels of implementation or application of the laws to try offenders. When we have talk of national assets, and that's why I said in one of my write-ups that is the Nigerians are the ones undermining Nigeria. Because, you know, when we have national assets, it's an asset for all of us. And Nigerians have vandalized. Some bad, unconscionable Nigerians, unpatriotic elements will go and vandalize it. If you vandalize power assets, how do you expect that there will be power supply?
What is the reason for the vandalization? Is it just so that the administration of the day shall fail or not be able to deliver on its promises? Or is it outright common criminal stealing in order to convert to other uses? I mean, what is the best intelligence you have in this regard?
Akuyori, a criminal is a criminal, irrespective of the intention. And it's not only in the power sector. The rail lines, people go there to cut off those metals. The newly constructed rail lines, Lagos-Ibadan, they go there and they have to replace all those things from time to time. Inherently, some people are wicked and criminally minded. And the law must go frontally against them and give them maximum punishment for their offenses without missing words. And trials should be accelerated, maximum punishment and consequences should follow. It's not only in the power sector. Okay. It's bad in the power sector because from time to time it's vandalized. Uncle Yori, let me confess on here. in my university, armored cables are being vandalized routinely. And the entire university community had to be thrown into darkness. And it took the doggedness of the vice chancellor, of course, to weed out a lot of those elements.
Mm-hmm.
They will remove armored cable today. 2 weeks later, another station, armored cable. A length costs millions, even in a university.
So this is one. So this is a major problem, Prof. This is
it's a Nigerian thing, and it's not only federal. I'm sure not only our university of Lagos. I'm sure that universities are facing it. And electrical cables are something that you don't even go near except you have the experience. When we are talking about this electricity theft and bypass, I called one of the training. One of the things I said to them, I told them they weren't deploying the laws, and the laws were there. We opened their eyes and they started doing something in that regard. And we told them we had cases of some of their staff who ought to generate a bill of 3 million, 5 million for certain business concerns. And they will go and collude. They will raise a bill of 1-something million naira. Then they will go behind the scene to collect a bribe of 1 million naira. And the going concern makes a profit of 2-something million naira of expected electricity bill I ought to pay. And the bill will be shifted to Nigerians by way of tariff, whatever, adjustment. Because there were internal collusion even at the level of the discourse. And we pointed that out. Some of the discourse, of course, took up the challenge and they started looking inwards to deal with criminal elements within their rank and file. Well, so Nigerians who are disposed to criminality, no doubt. We're going
to have to leave it. Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it here, Prof. And I mean, hearing from you, you are a researcher in the sector. So this is why the tale is even more distressing in that you must be talking from a point of view of knowledge. We've run out of time. We didn't get a chance to really relate to some of the solutions that you have also been considering. But then there'll be another day. Thank you very much, Professor.
We think of the solutions. We have them documented. At some point, I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to apply those.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Professor Yemi Oke, Energy and Electricity Law Professor at the University of Lagos. Thank you very much once again. That's our program. Please join us tomorrow. Indeed. Join us tomorrow, please, for a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.